Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I want to go over which team captain I think you should choose. So I believe level 12, you get to choose your team captain. You get this team captain fantasy pack. It's either 11 or 12. I got past 11 and onto 12 during a MUT draft game. So it's either 11 or 12, but either way, you unlock the Team Captain Fantasy Pack pretty early on. As you see here, they're 80 overall to start. You got Herman Moore, Dallas Clark, Ryan Shazier, so that's really nice to see. He was the MUT Master last year in 19, as well as Ty Law. So for me, it's really between two I think you should go for. However, I could see the argument for honestly any of these. I think all four are very important positions. However, for me, it's either between Ryan Shazier and Herman Moore. And I debated a little bit whether I think Dallas Clark should be in a contender. But at the end of the day, as for Madden 19, there was the Shannon Sharp, and the reason I picked him in 19 was because of his speed. Now, Dallas Clark is more of a blocking and possession receiving tight end. So for me, I think there's a lot of those that come out and those really deep threats at tight end that can really run those seams, can run some of those corner routes, have decent route running, as well as can block decently. Those are more rare, and you saw that in 19 with Shannon Sharp. I don't think Dallas Clark's going to have the speed to do that, and I think you can get what he's going to bring to the field being a good, solid blocker for you if you choose max protect for pass block or run block, as well as a very good possession receiver. You saw him many times with Peyton Manning. He is able to hit the seams, but I just don't see the speed there for Dallas Clark, and if he gets the speed, it's going to be much later in the year when other tight ends are going to have accumulated that speed. So I wouldn't do Dallas Clark, and I'll touch on Ty Law right away. The reason I wouldn't do Ty Law is because there's generally an abundance of cornerbacks that are released, and also like NAT corners. I know last year in 19, basically my entire defensive backfield was NAT, because you get a lot of the corners as set masters for promos or as the cards you get back for some of those sets. So for me, I wouldn't go corner because you're probably going to have a lot of other corners. So that makes Ty Law sort of more of a rotational corner. Like, obviously right away, he's going to be good for you, but I always like looking long term as well. I don't just like looking how they're going to impact you right away out the gate. Because obviously, early on, it's difficult to pass up an option that can help your team right away. But this captain's promo, the team captains, you really got to look down the line because these upgrade throughout the year. So for me, I think you really got to look at who's going to help you the most once there's other really competitive cards out there, and what's their potential ceiling. Like Dallas Clark's potential ceiling is, a really good possession receiver that can block well. It's going to have decent speed, but that's going to be a lot of the profile of the tight ends. At the end of the day, the differentiation is going to be guys like, I think George Kittle that can do that, maybe slightly less so, but have that speed edge, and are going to be able to outrun linebackers or safeties that are going to be put on them. So that's why a guy like Dallas Clark, in the short term, you might be like, well, he's a very formidable tight end. But in the long term, I just don't see him, differentiating and separating himself from the rest of the pack. Same with Ty Law. And that's really just for Ty Law's case because there's a ton of cornerbacks that come out. Now, the two I would do, and I'll rank them as well. So I would do Ty Law would be the last option I do. Dallas Clark would be the third. The second would be Herman Moore. And it's similar to Ty Law. There's a lot of receivers that come out, but I think Herman Moore has the edge because he's 6'4". He has some speed. He's got the ability to go up and get 50-50 balls. And that's really something that can be a big advantage to you throughout the entire year. I think will separate not only short term, but obviously, as I've mentioned, long term as well. As for later in the year, like late in the year, like April, May, June, he's probably not going to be the best choice because there will be a lot of receivers with his profile. But really that middle part of the year, towards the back half of the regular season going into the playoffs, Super Bowl time, NFL draft time, I think he'll be a very good option for you as he begins to get upgraded and his 6'4" height, starts to get really well complemented with improved speed, spec catching traffic, things like that, route running as well. So I think Herman Moore would be the second option I'd go with. Now the first option, and really the separation between Ryan Shazier and Herman Moore, in my mind, is actually pretty significant. I think Ryan Shazier should be the choice. Pretty outright, I would pick Shazier over any of these guys. And the reason is, I know the one concern would be height. And this year you probably want really tall middle linebackers because of how you're not going to be able to just be 5-7 yards away from the ball and be able to get an interception. Like you've seen already, like there's the clip of Bobby Wagner being 2 yards away, not getting a pick animation. I've already played games where I've thrown the pass and I think I should have gotten picked, but I didn't, and the linebacker was like 1-2 yards away. But the thing that's gonna sort of even that out to me is Shazier's speed. He's going to be one of the fastest middle linebackers, so he's going to be able to cover a lot more space. So you're going to be able to blanket those receivers. Now, I think he's going to be a key user too. He's probably going to be one of the best users, not because of height, but because of speed. And as we've seen, if you have a tall linebacker, I haven't seen really tall like Ted Hendricks, but how he's going to be able to jump, get some picks, 3, 5, 7 yards away from the receiver if a guy's like that height. But, I got to imagine a guy like Ted Hendricks, because of his lack of speed, he might not be able to get all those picks that you're accustomed to because of his 6'7" height. But a guy like Shazier, even though his height isn't really there, just trending around 6 foot, I believe. I'll check really quick. Yeah, 6'1", so actually an inch taller than I thought he was. But as you can see, he starts out 80 speed. The speed's going to be really great as he improves and you're able to upgrade him throughout the year. And he's going to be a really good user, so you're going to be able to cover ground and stay with those receivers. Now, I think his zone will also be good for CPU user, but I would probably use Shazier, especially once he starts to get into the 90s, mid-high 90s. So Ryan Shazier would be who I would pick, and that is who I'm going to pick here. So that is the video. That is who I would pick for the team captains. I think it's a really good group of guys, but I think Shazier has a significant edge over Herman Moore. But depending on your defensive scheme, another thing with Shazier, he's going to be good blitzing. I think he'll have decent block shed once he gets a little more upgrades. So that's another thing, running those mid blitzes, some of those looping blitzes out of the nickel, and other packages defensively. So for me, it's Shazier, but let me know what you guys think, who you end up picking. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.